What is MSP? Half of farmers don't know. Knowing it can save the right price for your crop. Imagine a farmer working hard in the fields all winter. He irrigates in the morning chill, watches over the crop in the afternoon sun, and stays awake at night worrying about the weather. When the wheat or paddy crop is ready, he feels that now he will receive the money for his hard work. He reaches the market Mandi with a trolley full of produce. There, the commission agent says, "Prices are down today. If you want to sell, sell at this rate, otherwise take your goods back." The farmer falls silent because he doesn't have full knowledge of his rights. The fear starts right here. If a farmer doesn't even know the meaning of MSP, the method of government procurement, and the declared price of his crop, someone else can take advantage of his hard work. And the curiosity is, can just the right information about MSP make a big difference in a farmer's pocket? MSP stands for Minimum Support Price, न्यूनतम समर्थन मूल्य in Hindi. To put it in simple language, it is the minimum price that the government declares for certain crops, so that if the market price falls, the farmer is not forced to sell the crop at a very low price. This doesn't mean that the government will automatically buy every crop everywhere, but MSP creates a benchmark for the farmer. The farmer gets to know what the government considers the minimum value of his crop. This information itself can become bargaining power in the market. In India, MSP is not just a price list, it is a system linked to the farmer's security. When production is high and supply increases in the market, the open market price can fall. At such times, farmers start making distress sales, selling at low prices out of compulsion. MSP is a safety signal designed to protect against this fall. The government fixes MSP for 22 mandated agricultural crops every year. This includes Kharif, Rabi and some commercial crops, and for sugarcane, a separate FRP, fair and remunerative price, is fixed. In February 2026, the government also stated in Parliament that MSP for the 22 mandated crops is fixed based on the recommendations of the CACP. Now the question is, who decides the MSP? The name that comes up here is CACP, which stands for the Commission for Agricultural Costs and Prices. It is an expert body under the Ministry of Agriculture that gives recommendations to the government by looking at factors like crop costs, market conditions, demand-supply, input prices, the interests of both the farmer and the consumer, and the impact on the economy. Then the government announces the final MSP along with the views of state governments and central ministries. According to the Department of Food and Public Distribution, the MSP for wheat and paddy are also fixed based on the recommendations of the CACP. But the real confusion lies in the formula for MSP. Farmers often ask, how does the government determine the cost? It is very important to understand this because the debate over MSP begins here. Expenses in farming aren't just for seeds and fertilizers. A farmer uses diesel, labor is involved, pesticides are bought, there are water and machinery costs, and many times family members work in the field without taking wages. The government uses different cost concepts to understand the expenses. A 2 includes the farmer's actual paid out expenses, such as seeds, fertilizers, labor, hired machinery, diesel, and irrigation. In A2 plus Florida, the estimated value of family labor is added to A2. C2 is an even more comprehensive concept, which includes A2 plus Florida, along with things like the rent of one's own land and interest on fixed capital. According to Drishti IAS and policy explainers, C2 is considered the comprehensive cost because it captures the entire economic cost of farming in a broader way. This is where the Swaminathan Commission comes in. The National Commission on Farmers, chaired by Professor M.S. Swaminathan, gave significant recommendations between 2004 and 2006 regarding the condition of farmers, the cost of farming, and income security. Its most talked about recommendation was that MSP should be fixed by adding at least a 50% profit to the C2 cost. In simple language, if the farmer's comprehensive cost is 100 rupees, the MSP should be at least 150 rupees. Farmer organizations still demand this C2 plus 50% formula today because they say that land rent and interest on capital are also part of the real cost of farming. The government's current approach is different. In the Union Budget of 2018-19, the government announced the principle that MSP would be kept at least 1.5 times the cost of production. According to the PIB, the government has spoken about keeping the MSP of mandated Kharif, Rabi and other commercial crops at a return of at least 50% over the production cost. But a major point in the policy debate is that this calculation is generally considered to be based on A2 plus Florida cost, while farmer organizations want C2 plus 50%. This is why, even after the announcement of MSP, farmers often say that the increase is not enough. Now, why is this difference important for a farmer? Suppose the A2 plus Florida cost of a crop appears low because the rent of one's own land and interest on capital were not fully added. The MSP was fixed by adding 50% to that. But if the farmer says that my land has an opportunity cost, there is a cost for assets like tractors and pumps, and there is the hard work of the whole family, then C2 will become a much larger figure. If C2 is larger, the C2 plus 50% MSP will also be higher. This is why the debate over MSP is not just about a number, but about the perspective of looking at the cost. Many farmers feel that once MSP is declared, the government will buy their entire crop at that price. But the ground reality is different from this. MSP declaration and MSP procurement are two different things. The MSP price is declared, but procurement is mostly strong in those crops and regions where the procurement infrastructure is good. For example, the procurement of wheat and paddy is more organized in many states. The Food Corporation of India and state agencies procure wheat and paddy under prescribed quality norms. According to the procurement policy page of the Department of Food and Public Distribution, state agencies and the FCI buy wheat and paddy of fair average quality (FAQ) standards during the determined period. This is why knowing the procurement process is even more important than just knowing the MSP. The farmer should know where the registration for his crop will take place, where the procurement center is, which documents will be required, what the quality norms are, what the moisture limit is, how the payment will arrive, and when official procurement will start in the market. If a farmer doesn't know all this, he might sell to a private trader at a lower rate despite the MSP. Many times money is needed immediately, lines are long at the market, or the farmer makes a quick decision out of fear of a quality cut. This is where information can save money. The second benefit of MSP is linked to food security. A large portion of the grain purchased by the government is used in the public distribution system, PDS, and welfare schemes. This means MSP doesn't just provide price support to the farmer, but also supports the system that delivers grain to the poor families of the country. When government procurement happens, a buffer stock is created. Because of this, the country has grain available in times of need. Therefore, MSP is seen not just as farmer income but also from the angle of national food security. But the MSP system has its own limitations as well. Not every crop is purchased as much as wheat and paddy are. In many states, procurement is weak. It is difficult for many farmers to reach the market. A small farmer doesn't have storage, so he is forced to sell immediately after harvest. Many times the market price goes below the MSP, but effective procurement is not available. Therefore, along with MSP information, the local Mandi system, FPOs, cooperatives, storage and direct procurement options are also important. Now the question arises as to how a farmer can truly benefit from MSP. First of all, he must know the official MSP of his crop. The government announces MSP every season. A farmer can check the rate from the Agriculture Department, Mandi Board, official portals, 𝐟𝐸 𝐵igyan, cooperative societies or reliable news sources. Secondly, he should write down his costs. How much was spent on seeds, how much on fertilizer, how much on labor, how much on diesel, how much on irrigation, how much on transport. Only when a farmer starts writing his own costs does he realize whether the MSP is profitable for him or not. Thirdly, the farmer will have to understand quality standards. If the crop has high moisture, grains are broken, there are impurities, or prescribed FAQ standards are not met, problems can arise in procurement. Many times a farmer thinks he didn't get the MSP, but the reason could also be a quality cut or timing. Therefore, it is important to pay attention to harvesting, drying, cleaning and storage. Only that farmer can take full advantage of MSP who brings the crop to the market in the right condition. Fourthly, the farmer should understand the registration and payment system. Today in many states, online registration, bank account verification and Aadhaar link details are required for procurement. Now we come to middlemen and commission agents. Not every agent is wrong. In many places, the agent becomes part of the finance, transport and mandi support for the farmer. But where the farmer lacks knowledge of MSP, weight, quality cuts and payment rules, the possibility of exploitation increases. If the farmer knows the official rate, he can at least ask the question as to why the market rate is below the MSP. If government procurement is available, he can avoid private distress sales. Information gives the farmer a voice. There is another important point in the MSP debate: crop diversification. Because MSP and assured procurement made wheat and paddy very strong in many regions. This gave stability to farmers, but in some areas, problems like water stress, soil health and monocropping also increased. That's why governments talk about encouraging crops like pulses, oilseeds and millets. But a farmer will shift only when he has confidence in the market, procurement, storage, and the right price for the new crop. MSP announcement alone is not enough. Procurement confidence is also necessary. In farmer movements, the demand for a legal guarantee for MSP has also been raised repeatedly. Farmer organizations say that if MSP is declared, then purchase at a lower rate should be stopped. The government and policy experts talk about aspects like fiscal cost, procurement capacity, market distortion, and storage challenges. In other words, the issue of MSP is not just about raising prices, it's an issue of the entire agriculture market design. But at the farmer's level, the most basic and immediate task is to know the MSP, understand the official procurement process, and keep a record of the cost of one's crop. There is also an important caution here. The line, if he knows the MSP, lakhs of rupees will come into every farmer's account can create emotion, but it has to be understood in a practical way. MSP is not an automatic money transfer scheme. It is price support declared for the crop. A farmer will benefit only when he grows an eligible crop, reaches the procurement system, meets quality norms and sells through the right channel at the right time. However, not knowing about MSP can definitely lead to a loss. Because an unaware farmer cannot even negotiate the rate he deserves, today, there is a need for MSP literacy in every village. Just as a farmer gets information about the weather, asks about seed varieties and knows the dose of fertilizer, he should also know the MSP and Mandi process. Panchayats, market committees, agriculture departments, FPOs and local leaders should deliver this information in simple language. A farmer doesn't want complicated policy, he just wants a clear answer. What is the MSP of my crop? Where will the purchase happen? How will registration be done? When will the payment arrive? And what should I do if someone is offering a lower rate? In the end, the story is about that same farmer who was standing in the Mandi. If he doesn't know the MSP, he will consider the trader's words as a market compulsion. But if he knows the official rate, knows the procurement center, knows the quality norms, and knows the account of his own cost, his confidence will change. MSP is not magic, but it is an essential weapon in the farmer's hand. It tells him that there is a minimum price for his hard work, and when a farmer begins to understand the value of his rights, then his silence in the market starts turning into a voice. So don't just consider MSP a news headline. It is the language of security for the farmer from the field to the market. It says that a farmer should not be alone in the ups and downs of the market. But the benefit of this security will be available only when the farmer is aware. Know the MSP of your crop, check the rate from official sources, understand procurement rules, and do not sell your hard work cheaply out of compulsion. Because when a farmer understands his cost and the price of his rights, that knowledge can strengthen his pocket, his family, and his future.
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.